back in Hermitage for a couple of reasons. The main reason was we couldn't get hauled out over in Harbor Breton, so we ended up coming over here because it's a pretty safe and it's actually a really nice place, very well protected, and we can do the bulk of what we wanted to do here while we're in the water. We wanted to do some hull repairs from a couple of our dock encounters during the storms, but we'll see if we can get to those while we're in the water. But for now, we're going to do a bunch of maintenance items, take a little bit of time, get our outboard serviced. Just checked our solar panels because the wattage didn't seem to be coming out right, but I think we got that figured out. And then we lost a wind generator in the back there, so we got the wind generator taken off, and we'll get that tidied up. Sounds like we blew a circuit board on that guy, and we're working on getting that sent out. We've got a bunch of interior modifications to make, add a couple lights here and there, outlets where we discovered that we would like to have them, and maybe reconfigure the V-berth so that we can redo our storage up front and the bow, which will help bring a bunch of stuff in the stern and weight forward.
Today we have to take care of our mattress. Unfortunately, the mattress started to mold because of all the condensation in the winter. And we have to take that out, bring it to the dump. Luckily, it was an old mattress anyway, like old. And we always were thinking of buying a new one, but we were trying to save money, so we didn't. But now we have to. So today we'll rip all the stuff in the bedroom out and measure it and get some new stuff to build a brand new bed. Yeah, so let's lift it and look. Oh my gosh, this is more than gross. Okay, let's get that thing out. That's really gross. Oof. So, no, seriously, okay? Like it looked like there were two wet spots here and there, and it's basically at the same place. So what is on top there? What could cause that? They're not wet, but it looks like it looks a little bit like rusty, which makes sense because it's a steel boat.
There's nothing there.
Yeah, but it's just these two places. I mean, it's dry now. It might have been condensation, and in the future, hopefully, it's not that cold. At least like in the next 6 months. And so I don't know. You should keep the ceiling in, I think.
Okay.
Okay. It's always the same. Look, guys, it's always the same. We want to do it, and then we're so anxious to get going, so we just do half of it, and then because we just want to go. Isn't it like this?
Yeah. That is 7'4.5".
These are the blankets that we decorate the bedroom with, and they all got moldy, so I want to wash them. And so we have a real fresh bedroom when the new mattress is coming. Edward, are you guarding the blankets? That's very nice of you. Meanwhile, we built this for under the mattress. These are like slats, and on top we put some blankets. So these blankets are supposed to be anti-mold, and we made 4 pieces so we can access tools and stuff. You can also access the shelves underneath very well.
We discovered in Harbor Breton, when we pulled out the first time to work on our keel, that our anodes on our Ocean Bolt servoprop motors were really eaten away. About 40% of the zinc had already corroded in about 6 or 8 weeks time, which is highly unusual. And so we were getting some galvanic corrosion, some stray current we assumed through the water. We did some checks to make sure that we weren't losing current through the boat somehow, and it's all brand new electrical, so we couldn't figure out how that would have happened, but that wasn't the case, so we must have got hit pretty bad by stray current. We installed a galvanic isolator while we're here. It is right there, the galvanic isolator, which will hopefully help prevent any of that corrosion that we were getting.
We bought this mattress in the box, so that's supposed to be a queen size. It really doesn't look like it, but hopefully it is. Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah. All right, so today we are changing out the circuit board for our wind generator. So something happened around our trip around Cape Race that blew something in the circuit board, and the wind generator no longer responded, and it was likely because of human error. So here are switch panels for the wind generators for turning them on. It says prior to powering off, turn that to stop. And I think what we ended up doing was doing it in reverse, and that fried something in the circuit board. So what we've done is ordered a new one from Primus Wind Generation, and we already got it back in here. There's a couple slip rings here for these bushings, and now to connect the rotor and stator back up and see if we can get this thing back up and running.
The weather finally is a little bit nicer, and we use that time to work on the boat. I always wanted to fix our gates because they're kind of stupidly done. If you open it here, this net is closed, but the opening of the net is here, so I always have to tie both sides, and that doesn't really make sense. So I'm taking these here off to put that on the other side, and then that all makes more sense. Just make sure I don't drop the screws in the water, then I'm screwed. So now my gate opens all on one side, and then we can just clamp it to the other side. Perfect.
So one of the other goals we have while we're here is to install some spreader lights, give some lights onto the deck, which is nice for nighttime sailing, crossings, stuff like that. Adds a little bit of safety factor, and allows, if you're at the helm, you can see the person up front a little bit better, and if you're up front working around, especially on the mast, it really helps you see what you're doing. And so way up there on the first set of spreaders, installed some big LED lights. I just tested the connection and they look good. So
yeah, so on this side here I have to take the whole stanchion off, because maybe you remember, if you've seen episode 10 and 11, when we were in Grand Brit, we were like slammed against the wall, and that bent two of our stanchions, this one and the next one. So we gotta straighten that out. These screws here,
yeah, they're gonna be a challenge. All the way down. Boom. That's a huge bend. Dang. Definitely doesn't line up with that one.
this is our on the boat and on the road washing machine. I have 2 loads today. So it's just a few t-shirts that fit in 1 load here, but it's working. It's just very hot water and laundry soap, natural laundry soap, so we don't harm the environment when we dump the water. It's also much better for your skin and for your health overall if you don't use any chemicals when you wash your laundry. Oh, Edward, do you help?
And our plan was to do a bunch of quick projects that we could complete in a couple weeks while we were parked here. And of course, like any good project, it ends up turning into kind of a Pandora's box. And so while I was cleaning the bilges, I noticed that we have like this middle, I want to call it like a bathtub section that kind of surrounds the keel box. And so our keel folds up into the boat and into the keel box. And the keel box is surrounded by like a metal wall, if you will, that is filled with lead and concrete. That's our ballast. And so I was kind of a little bit neglectful in the last few sails, and I just kind of let the bilge pumps manage the bilge water that we were getting through a variety of areas. Most notably, the chain locker drains right into our bilge, and we were hitting several waves, and so of course right down the hose pipe the water would go, and it would go into our bilge. And we're also getting a ton of condensation with the temperature differences between outside and inside, and that condensation builds up and also kind of fills up the bilge. Anyway, with the bilges being full of water, when we would heel over, and a couple times, well, more than a couple times, we violently heeled over in some pretty big gusts, 35, 40 knot gusts. And of course that water would splash over into this little bathtub region, and so it filled this bathtub region full of water. Put my foot in it. There's my foot in the bathtub, and this is the wall on one side, wall on the other side, and of course the wall over here. And there's a little cutout here for the outlet for the water tank to feed the boat system. And what we're seeing is a fair amount, I don't know how well this will show up on camera, but a fair amount of moisture right in there. And what'll happen overnight is that kind of pools up. And I'm not sure if it's just the water is like wants to be attracted to the top of the concrete or what's going on here. But you know, this is our lead ingots here, and basically what they did is they surrounded these lead ingots with concrete. I kind of mentioned this a while back in one of the refit videos. My biggest fear is that something is going on with the keel box itself, which is this big gray part in between our battery banks, and maybe there's a crack in one of the welds down in there. I mean, we did hit some pretty big waves pretty hard, but I can't imagine that it would really crack one of those deals. And this is where one of the places that we get the moisture pooling, and it kind of pools along this area, and now I'm getting to see where it starts to pool underneath the water tank that I wasn't able to see before. So cross our fingers that it's not something in the hull that is leaking, and it's really just the saturated concrete that is causing this, because if we got a leak in the hull, that's a pretty big deal, and we'll have to haul out sooner rather than later to deal with that. And it's not really something that we were wanting to deal with, and it's a kind of a scary notion to think that your boat might have a hole in it, right?
11 years ago, my friend Lisa found Edward on the road, and I picked him up a few days later, and he's my best friend and most loyal companion ever. Hey, you watched all to the end. So we finished all the projects that we wanted to do on the boat, and we are preparing to leave. We found out that there is no leak in the boat, so this is very good news, but Wes can talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it turns out it looks like it was mostly condensation. The concrete was saturated from the spillover, as I explained earlier, which didn't help matters, but what I'd noticed here is the temperatures have started to warm up, and the condensation would dissipate in the boat, so would the amount of moisture on the concrete. So it seems to parallel, and I think we have enough confidence to continue on without worrying about it being a leak.
Yeah, and while we were here in Hermitage working on the boat, we also created something new. It's an independent content creator platform, and this is basically the same as Patreon, just we skip Patreon, and also there Wes can talk more about it.
Yeah, so we created our own contribution page or crowdsourcing page, so we can kind of keep everything in our own little microcosm for Hakluyt here, and it boils down to a variety of factors, but probably one of the biggest factors is Patreon just for small channels like us just simply charges way too much. And so at the end of the day, if you're to make a contribution, a good portion of that contribution never even makes it to us. So we have the skills, and we have the website, and we have the back-end technology to support it. So we put together our own, and there's a lot of cool features that are coming down the road here that we'll announce here shortly.
And the good news is the first 20 subscribers go into a raffle and can win the highest tier that we offer. If you want to know what that is, just check out our website. The link is in the description. And something else, or
Nope,
do we say goodbye?
I think that's it. And yeah, we'll be leaving Hermitage here shortly, and we'll bring you some more footage here from the south coast of Newfoundland. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for watching. Bye bye.